Welcome. You're listening to the Ask Brien radio show on KHTS 1220 and 98.1 FM. Well, every week we have a show. It's called Ask Brien. And Ask Brien is a show about business. We try to teach people business every week. Either we have somebody that has a great business history or has a great business service, or sometimes both. I think today we have both, so we're in luck. But everybody who has never listened to the show doesn't understand why we are named Ask Brien. My name is Peter. My co-host is Tracy. Why is it Ask Brien? So we have to go through an explanation to explain to our users, or I should say, our listeners, about why we use Ask Brien and why is Brien spelled with an E. Because everybody tells me when they were growing up, it was Brien with an E. It was never heard of. It was Bryin or Brian, and you spell it with an E, and you're not Irish. It's not like, oh, we're going down to the O'Brien's pub and have a beer or a chaser.
That's a terrible Irish impersonation, by the way.
You want me to start talking like an
I mean,
Alabama?
just the worst.
All right.
We need to get
Tracy.
you a new storyline. That one's just not working.
That's just not working.
Well, I'm from Alabama, and I talk like Tracy, and Tracy's a very, very good person, and she's from southern Mississippi or wherever she's from.
That's even worse. In fact, that actually sounds more Irish than your Irish impersonation.
I didn't know you were Irish, Tracy. Congratulations.
I can't stop. Oh, my God. Okay, first of all, I am from Virginia, the Commonwealth state, not Alabama.
Where were they in the Civil War?
Well, they were above the Mason-Dixon.
They were Confederates.
All I have to say is, I'm not from the state where the convicts and the jail wardens just escaped. That's not where I'm from.
That's a whole different ballgame. But I'm sure, and
It's
I'm sure our guest
different story.
Our guest may escape too soon, so we need to explain. Now, Emily, who begins with an E, is not here, but we do have
Our engineer.
Hold on, where's our drum roll?
Drum roll, drum roll, drum
Come
roll,
on.
drum roll, drum roll.
You know, this is what happens when you pay minimum wage.
There is no drum, but know what? I'm gonna bring in a clap, a little golf clap.
Oh my gosh, that sounds so good and positive, as opposed to wah wah.
That's a good one.
Remember, I'm in control of the board now. I can play the good ones.
Tracy, can you do the wah wah wah?
Wah wah.
All right, so Patrick, why do we have an E in Brien?
Well, because the E's stand for themes that have to do with the Ask Brien show.
So give me one theme.
All right. Well, there's engineers because there is not only Emily, but there's also me as well, and Carlos.
Yes, but we can use AI, and that's what he does.
I mean, it's been almost 3 years since I've been with you guys, and AI hasn't happened yet. Not for us.
Well, I'm going to speak to our guest because he knows something about AI, so we're going to figure that one out.
Outside of that, there is empathy, which you were not being very empathetic, right, Tracy? Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't even know what that word means.
Means putting
He never is. Never. He doesn't even know what it means.
Means putting yourself in someone else's shoes, not literally.
Oh, here it comes.
But literally it is. Because you wear what, size 14?
13.
And
Close
I'm wearing a size 8.5.
And no one cares.
So there's no way that Patrick could ever be in my shoes. Ever. His foot would be sticking out so long.
Well, what if we said the opposite? There's no way you could be in Patty's shoes
Ayo.
either.
There we go. Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't want to be in Patty's shoes.
Well, I can't honestly say that anybody probably would know if it was Patty.
I don't have anything to say in that regard. I got nothing for that one. I really don't have anything on that.
Oh, gosh.
Well, you're still exceptional.
Thank you. Hey, there's an E, exceptional.
But let's go through some more because our guest is like going, is this what I signed up for? I'm going to have a conversation with Brien. Anyway, go ahead.
There is experience.
Our guest has escaped.
There's a new one. Yeah, escaped.
I'm still here. Don't worry. I'm hanging on.
This conference is now locked.
Oh, okay.
Why did you lock the conference?
I didn't do any of that. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. I don't know what happened, but if we got both
I was thinking very existential when we were getting locked in.
I don't know what that was, but anyways, let's continue, shall we? So there's experience, and with that, there's also experts who are very experienced. Little combo with that.
kind of what is like Burger King or
No, like
the
a one, two, like a
is it the
1-2.
value meal?
No, like a 1-2 punch. You know what I mean? Like, okay. Anyway.
Like equal, like equal, equal. What do you mean?
Yes.
Equal.
That's
Expert
another.
equal.
We are not an equal show, okay?
Then there, then there's
No, we're not.
there's the three the three really fun ones. There is the enthusiasm, which would be me, the
Excitement,
and then Tracy brings.
enthusiasm,
Electrified.
There we go.
No, I'm electrified.
Yes, she is.
and why did I come up with that name? Grease lightning,
because
electrified.
Lightning.
I came up with that.
Yeah, I'll give it to
Is
you.
there
I'll give it
anything
to you.
else?
Trying to think. Education.
Well, that's one of the major ones, and there's one more left, but we're an educational show. We try to teach people something. We're the Sesame Street of business.
I call dibs on Elmo.
With an E.
Bingo.
And there's one last one.
All right, what would I? I'm blanking on this
Well, our guest is an expert,
one. Ah, there's an expert indeed.
and we want experts because we want to be able to teach people things.
I mean, no offense, but he did say that one already.
To be fair.
I do not
To be
recall
fair.
that. We're going to have to do a
She's got a
playback.
point.
We'll go to the review cycle and have our refs check it out and see if there was anything like that. Because I don't.
Survey
recall that.
says.
Yes, and we'll do the family. We'll do the family feud. Next question. First, number of people that what? Okay, we're back.
What is we're moving on?
Oh my God.
Oh, without any
For
further,
the love of everything, E. Let's move on.
we are moving forward. Without any further,
Adieu. ADIEU.
and why do I like that word?
Because every single letter minus the D is a vowel.
All right, I've trained him well. I'm getting him sealed now.
I love Tracy's reaction every time.
Now, if our guest,
Every time. It gets me every time.
So defeated.
now, if our guest hasn't left the show, we are bringing on. His name is Roland. Roland, you there?
Yes, I am. Hello.
All right. Amazingly, you made it through. So we have a couple of questions for you. First of all, we want to go quickly over your background. So if you can give like a short, varied background of what you've done in your career up until now.
Yeah, sure. So most of my career has been in advertising technology, selling either media or technology to some of the biggest companies like Adobe, Disney, Microsoft, Ford, Ryan Seacrest. After that, I became an entrepreneur after about a 10-year career there and focused on advertising. And I built a platform for video advertising, built a business on top of that, and sold that company back in 2018 to a company in Canada. And we took the whole thing public on the Toronto Venture Stock Exchange. So since then, I've been focused on building Arrow, which is a solution for micro businesses.
So when you say video advertising, you're talking about advertising like on YouTube, or what are you referring to?
Yeah, so that company was called Roll Call, and we actually did advertising in the open web. So let's say you went to Forbes.com and you saw a video ad. What we did, and we used artificial intelligence and some other algorithms to figure out, okay, this is Brien. He just landed on Forbes.com. What do we know about Brien? And in about 240 milliseconds, literally the blink of an eye, we would find a video ad that was targeted to you, and we would show that ad.
Well, that's a very interesting concept. I actually would like to go over that with you, but we are on the show today for your new company, which is Arrow. And so my question is, how did you come up with this new company?
You know, it was a really simple idea to begin with. We realized that the world was completely changing. And you know, Brien, in my career, I had seen just a crap ton of money, billions of dollars invested in solutions for big companies. And I said to myself, wait a second here. You know, the landscape has shifted. There's now more people in the U.S. working in micro businesses and small companies than there are in you know, big companies, and who's building tools for them, who's building capabilities for them to market their own businesses. And the answer is not many people. And so that's from that very simple idea, Arrow was born.
And did you start it alone, or did you have other people?
Yeah, great question. So we started with 3 people. There's 3 founders. There's myself, my other Roland Reichel. My other founder is Pablo Munoz de Cote, who has been running and scaling businesses both in the U.S. and Latin America, mostly direct-to-consumer and business products. So he has a real understanding of that micro business and solopreneur community. And then our third co-founder is actually based right in Santa Clarita, which I think is where your radio station is based. And he's a lifelong entrepreneur and has just an incredible sense of business. He's founded everything from, he's run companies, everything from pool halls all the way up to biomedical engineering. So he's had a really rich and wonderful career, and also understands micro businesses and small businesses really well. So the 3 of us started the company back in late 2019.
And what is his
name?
Right
before COVID.
You didn't mention his name.
Oh, sorry, Jason Rubenstein.
Okay, all right. And now, had the 3 of you ever worked together before? How did you guys meet?
Yeah, so Pablo and I have known each other for several years. We've been involved in other companies, never as operators, but either as investors in those companies. And then Jason and I knew each other back from my old company, Roll Call. He had worked at another company based in Southern California, and we did a ton of business together. And I've always recognized him as a leader, someone who really understands online marketing, both for all kinds of businesses. And so we went to form Arrow. Jason was my first call.
And explain to our users. I keep on using the word users. Listeners, what? Because it's internet based. What exactly does Arrow do?
Right. So this is the idea. Paid advertising is a train wreck. I think we all can recognize that. It's got privacy problems. It's difficult to understand, and it's just really expensive. Content marketing is a simple and effective way for any business to get some real traction online. So we built Arrow, and what it does is it takes business content from all over the web, and we have a browser extension and a platform. The browser extension is super cool because it's just really easy to use. It hangs out right in your Chrome browser, integrates directly into your social media business profiles. And so we take all this really engaging business content and we make it available to small businesses for free, and they can post it on their profile with one click. So it's a great way to raise your business profile. You know, it's a great way to post regularly, establish yourself as a leader in what you sell to your community, and, get some real traction online.
So I am a lawyer as well, and so my question is, what about copyright issues? I mean, if you've got the same content going out.
Yeah, so here's the great thing. There's literally millions of pieces of content out there that's free. So we really stick to that lane. And, about 68% of people who use social media repost. So this behavior of sharing and posting content is, at this point, just something we all do every day. So we take that behavior, we put it in a business context, and we accelerate it. But to answer your question directly, we have a ton of free content that's available out there. The people who write that content are excited because more businesses are using it, so we're helping get more viewership for them. And in some cases, we've done more premium, I shouldn't say premium, but we've done actual, deals with certain folks like the New York Times to have that content available as well. But it's still all free. And I think that's really critical because, there's just so much stuff out there, and it's like always sometimes difficult to curate it. Okay, how do I find a cool piece of content about sports or about insurance if, I'm an insurance agent? So we cut down that waste of time of like trying to figure out, hey, what can I find and what can I post? And we just make that content like really easy, really available, one click, and turn you into a business superstar.
And do you have a subscription model, or how do you make money?
Yeah, so that's a great question. We knew from the beginning to really support small businesses and micro businesses, you had to give a lot of value up front. So a big part of the content is free. We do have this marketing feature called boosting, and that's super cool because what that does is it understands like who you are, and getting back to that insurance agent, like it knows, okay, you're an insurance agent, you're in Santa Clarita, and it'll curate and boost that content right to the right people in your community. But we charge $5 a month for that. So that's really affordable. Now, the other way we make money is we've got e-commerce companies that are using this content sharing and boosting tools to drive users to their e-commerce offers. And we take a small percentage of the revenue from their sales, and that is a very scalable business model for us. But again, our whole idea is, hey, value up front. So in that case, we only make money when our e-commerce partners make money. So it's a win-win for everybody.
So is that like an affiliate program?
Yeah, that's a good way to think about it. I'll give you a real-world example. We work with a skincare company, and they've got this really great high-end skincare product. And so they are constantly posting all kinds of great content on Facebook and Instagram about skincare and about staying healthy. And then people read that content and they click on the offer and they go buy, some of their skin products. So every time they buy that skin product, we make a couple bucks. So that's how it works.
Well, that can be very profitable. So we have about
that's great.
We have about 2 minutes before we're going to take a break. So the question is, what are the three qualities that you think you need to be successful?
The three qualities that you need to be successful: persistence, persistence, persistence. It's just so important to believe in the vision of what you're doing. Don't give up, and continue to pursue your dream. There's millions. I actually have a slightly different perspective on what's happening in America right now. The Great Resignation is only one half of the coin. The other half of the coin is this massive wave of entrepreneurialism that's happening. I think we're in a more entrepreneurial and innovative kind of economic headspace as a country than we've been in 50 years. And I just love it. I see people every day using our tool, starting new businesses. So follow your dream, be persistent. And I just think it's a really exciting time to be starting a business.
Well, and the next question is, you've been doing this now for how many years? 2 years? 3 years?
A little over 2 years. Yeah, 2.5 years.
And what has been the biggest problem you've had to overcome?
I think the biggest problem that any small business has, and a startup is a small business. I mean, when you first start, you're 3 people with a piece of paper and a pen and an idea. You don't even have a dollar to the business yet. So the thing that we focus on early on is just establishing credibility, right? How do we let the world know that we're a company that's got something very valuable to offer, right? When you're Apple, all you got to say is, we're Apple, and everyone knows who you are. But when you're a startup or a small business, you don't know. So establishing that kind of online credibility early on is really important. And we've done it through partnerships. We went out and partnered with Visa. We went out and partnered with Facebook and Instagram. And we use our own tools. Like, I'm constantly doing radio shows. I'm posting online content about, my life and being an entrepreneur and about the company. And the more we do that, the more we build our own credibility and profile. And I think that's a big, big part of those early couple of years.
Well, thank you very much. We're going to be right back. Take a commercial break. KHTS 1220, 98.1 FM.
If you'd like to take your business up a notch, take a look at Elite Magazine.
Linda and Mo Hafizi, owners of our Valley's 2 leading magazines, the Magazine of Santa Clarita and Elite.
I'm so proud of Elite. It allows your advertisement to stand out. We distribute Elite to 50,000 homes and businesses. You'll find us in 1,900 local hotel rooms.
Discover how Elite Magazine can help your business. Call 294-4444.
Superior quality is second nature to us. Just ask our advertisers.
If you have a business problem, if someone doesn't honor their agreement and you need an aggressive attorney with over 27 years' experience, the Law Office of Peter Bronstein has helped partners resolve disputes, franchisees resolve disputes, and other business owners who have a challenge. Let the Law Office of Peter Bronstein take your stress away. Visit lacorporateattorney.com. Don't wait too long and lose your rights. Solve your business challenge problem today. Visit lacorporateattorney.com.
Been a long day. You've been working hard. You know what you need? A nice home-cooked meal. Family-owned and operated restaurant Bella Cucina has provided the Santa Clarita Valley with authentic Italian cuisine for over 10 years. Bella Cucina now offers Italian Sunday brunch to the neighborhood from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., all for $6.99 to $11.99. Relax inside their charming restaurant, at the bar, or on the patio to eat, sip on bottomless mimosas, and watch sports all year round. Bella Cucina, off Seco Canyon and Copper Hill.
Helping lead the way to a greener future, all of Burtech's Santa Clarita Valley waste collection trucks run on clean-burning natural gas. Burtech takes pride in their community, and they've been serving the SCV for nearly 2 decades. Because at Burtech, we'll take care of it.
Santa Clarita has a new singing sensation, Terrell Edwards. Terrell Edwards opening at Santa Clarita's Canyon Club for the Super 70s group, Ambrosia. That's Ambrosia and Terrell Edwards at the Canyon Club Santa Clarita, Saturday, June 18th. Ambrosia and Terrell Edwards. Reserve your tickets now at hometownstation.com/Ambrosia.
Hometown, your hometown station.
Welcome back. You listen to KHTS 1220 and 98.1 FM, the Ask Brien radio show. And we have a great guest today. Roland is on. And our co-host, Traci. You're from Alabama? Oh, no, you're from Mississippi? Oh, excuse me. She's from Virginia.
I got you, Traci. I got you.
Pronounced Virginia. Virginia. That's how it's pronounced. Don't you ever forget it. Virginia.
I'm from New York, and New York City, we don't talk like that.
To be fair, Traci, that was pretty spot on for a New York accent.
And also, I do park the car.
He is a New Yorker.
No, because I always park the car. Traci, I park the car in Harvard Yard.
Well, what do you do when there's a mouse in the house?
Anyway, without any further ado, Traci has a couple of questions to ask Roland once she stops rolling in the laughter.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay.
You know what? That deserves like just that.
Where's the wah wah wah?
No, you know what? For that joke, you're getting.
Wah, wah.
You're getting.
That was good.
You're getting a boo for that.
That was a good one.
There was a crickets one, but it wasn't playing, so I went to go get the boo.
Oh my God! I think he played the applause. Though I don't think he played the boo.
Oh, you mean the golf clap?
Thank you.
Okay, so I actually have some relevant questions.
What's a relevant question?
Well, it's the opposite of irrelevant. So we are like-minded, kindred spirits with this long history in advertising. So I'm excited to explore that more with you. So tell me how your background in advertising led you to the aha moment to create this business.
Yeah, so advertising technology's been incredible the last 15 years. There's just been an explosion of platforms and data and really thinking. I mean, really smart people have invested a lot of time and money in figuring out digital advertising, and you've seen this automation happening, which is amazing. And unfortunately, though, a lot of that investment and development of that automation has gone to the biggest companies. I know I worked with them and sold some of that technology. And we just came up with the simple idea of like, hey, powerful technology can come in tiny packages. And if you can get the same tech into the right tool, and then everyone can use it. And the whole company was born on that simple idea.
And when you were creating the concept for the company, how did you discern who your target customer, who the end user of this technology was going to be? Because there's such a vast amount of people who could benefit from this technology, but it really feels like you've done a great job of niching who your end user is for now.
Yeah, Tracy, that's such a great question. It's a massive market. I think at the top of the show we were talking about that. There's now 41 million people working in micro businesses. And this is companies of less than 5 people. So there's more people in those types of businesses than any other. So this really is normative. This is how most Americans are working in these small companies, and that's really exciting. But you're right; it's a massive market. So we've focused on a couple verticals, and the headline here is agents. We think about agents, independent agents, as really micro businesses. So that's insurance brokers, real estate brokers, and travel agents. And collectively, that's about 2 million folks who are, usually working under a bigger umbrella. They might be working under Caldwell Bankers or one of those companies, but essentially running their own business. So we've built a lot of content for those groups, those agents.
And so in that regard, how does that part of the business model work? So do they become more of like an umbrella company? And then let's just take the financial advisory, for example. They have a lot of independent businesses within their overall company. So do you work with just the larger company, or do you actually then work with each of the independent, maybe like franchises or licensees of the company?
Yeah, it's both. We've had situations where the independent franchisees or independent brokers, find out about our product, and it just spreads like wildfire. Suddenly one insurance agent tells another insurance agent, friend at a conference, hey, I'm using this great tool, and it's really helped me increase my business profile. And, my Facebook page went from, 0 to hero, and now I'm getting likes and comments and shares, and I sold an extra policy, and you know how it goes. And when you have some success. So we've had that dynamic happen. And then we've had other instances where we've gone to the umbrella company and said to them, hey, look, you've got 10,000 agents or 50,000 agents, all could probably use a little digital enablement, could use a little help. And they say, great, we love it. We want to roll this out. So it's happened both ways.
And let's talk about, I love what you said, like going from 0 to hero. Talk to us about, in more detail, about how the technology actually works in order to make that happen. So I'm a micro business, 5 employees or less, or I'm a one-man band, and I don't have any time to do marketing, but I know how important it is. Like, how would you work with me?
Yeah, so that's a great question. And the time piece, Tracy, is absolutely critical. Like, I totally get it. We're all stretched for time. We're running around, we're running businesses, we're doing things with kids and families and grocery shopping and everything else that's part of everyday life. So what we've done is said, look, content creation is difficult. Who's going to take the time to sit down and write 10 blog posts and schedule them and have them go out? But what you can do that can be highly effective is you can curate content and get it out in an automated way. So for that local agent, and let's take travel because that's a good example. So you can download Arrow from the Google Chrome store. It's a browser extension, just like Grammarly or LastPass if you use any of those. And then you just log in with your Facebook account. Once you do that, Arrow gets to work. It figures out who you are, what kind of business you have, and it starts thinking about who your target customer is in your own community. And then it sources the content into these channels, and everything I'm saying here takes literally seconds, and you just start posting, right? So now you're pushing Yahoo News across your feed, or you're pushing relevant content from the New York Times or other places, and people are coming to your site, they're engaging. So that's the mechanics of how it works.
So is it just a Facebook connection? Do you have the opportunity to integrate LinkedIn or any of the other platforms?
So we just rolled out in Facebook and Instagram, and we're hot off the presses. We rolled out our self-service tool just in late February. So this is all happening in real time. We're a startup in the best sense of the word, really, growing this business from the ground up. So we rolled out with Facebook and Instagram. LinkedIn is coming in about a month and a half. And then we're also looking at Pinterest. And I think Pinterest is an interesting one. Getting back to those travel agents, it's a really visual platform. There's a lot of great content out there. It's super engaging. It's also great for local retail, shops that sell, cool knives and products for your kitchen and, greeting cards. Stores like that do really well on Pinterest. So by the end of this year, we'll be in Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Pinterest.
Well, one of the things I know about Pinterest, especially in regards to podcast marketing, is that it's really one of the most underestimated platforms for audience growth because it's the third largest search engine, which a lot of people don't realize that because they think of Google and YouTube, but Pinterest apparently is the third largest, and it's really a platform that's not being utilized in the best way that it can be, especially if you're trying to grow your podcast audience. So I think that's very interesting that's a choice that you made to get into, especially tying it into the e-commerce model like you were saying.
Yeah, I totally agree. One of the other ideas that we talked a lot about when we first started the company, not only, serving micro businesses and small businesses, but this idea that a lot of the ecosystem has been formed, Facebook, Pinterest, these big platforms are out there. They're great platforms. They're not going anywhere, and they're part of this ecosystem. And so we're part of this wave of companies that looked at that ecosystem and said, okay, great. That's a part of the world as we know it. How do we make it work better? And I think about a company like Calendly that sits on top of your Gmail calendar, your Google Calendar, and it just says everyone's got to use Google Calendar. Great. We're going to make that better. We're going to make it easier. And there's a really kind of interesting moment, a generation of these companies right now that are building on top of these existing platforms and doing that, just making them easier, quicker, better to use for everyone.
Well, I'm fascinated by the aspect that you have the ability to do this content creation for micro businesses, which is so needed. And like you said, you're giving business owners their time back, which is, invaluable. How did you connect the dots on the e-commerce portion of this for your business model for monetization? Because in my opinion, that is brilliant.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that. I would take credit, but it was probably the tequila talking more than anything else, So
the tequila and the cocktail napkins.
That's right. People always ask me, where do your great ideas come from? Well, it comes from the liquor store across the street. So
me too.
But no, but here's the idea here, and we thought of this idea called a SaaS tax, and I love the platforms we have. There's a lot of great platforms out there that are easy to use, but what happens, I think, sometimes for small businesses and micro businesses is that before they get even started, they're already, $1,000 in the hole right from the get-go. You got to pay $50 for QuickBooks, and you get Shopify, and that's $80, and then your template is another $120, and then this and that, and before you know, you've kind of cobbled together all these, each in their own great SaaS platforms, but collectively kind of a big nut to crack on day one. So we said, look, there's got to be a better way here. There's got to be a way to fund this, to give a lot of value up front. And, we knew the e-commerce ecosystem really well. We've all, we spent years selling products in our digital careers. So it just seemed like a logical choice to plug into that. And as a way to really fund these tools so you could give them away for free, or at least give a lot of value up front to micro businesses.
And so I have another question around that. So the majority of your clients, your end users, do they all have e-commerce stores? Is that a prerequisite, or is that just a bonus?
It's both, really. So the e-commerce stores and products, or folks who have e-commerce products, are using it mostly as a traffic driver. So they'll post great content, and then they'll boost that content, and they're driving people to a store where they can buy something. We've got some folks actually breaking into the affiliate space, so they're using our posting and boosting tools to get people to affiliate offers. That's a whole lane in and of itself. And then the third bucket is, we've got thousands of small businesses across about 120 different business categories that are just posting stuff every day. In fact, I was just looking at our back-end analytics this morning, and it's just a great cross-section of our economy. There's like a coffee shop, a travel agent, local retail. We've got folks who, gardening services, they're just posting, gardening content every day. So it's a really interesting kind of fabric of users.
Yeah, absolutely. So the affiliate piece is that I would imagine would just blow another side of your business up, because those are service-based and just can be service-based industries, consulting, coaches, authors. That just opens up an entirely new piece of business for you that aren't associated with the typical e-commerce model.
And that, I agree 100%, Tracy, and that part of the economy is just on fire right now. There's another company called Samcart that's super interesting. They just did an $80 million Series B, but they also focus more on they're like the Shopify, but for that part of the economy. Anyway, the point is, absolutely, life coaches, counseling, that kind of services, I don't know what you call it, I guess, like e-commerce services really is just absolutely exploding right now.
Yes, and as an extension of that, what I'm seeing too, especially post-pandemic, is a tremendous amount of people doing online courses, certification courses, and the master classes and that type of situation, which does tie in e-commerce to that, because it becomes a lot more of a scalable business model for the coaches and consultants, therapists, life coaches, like you're saying. So to be able, it almost feels like you could do a double dip with the affiliate revenue and the e-commerce portion of it with that business category.
That sounds good to me. We're at the point where we're just figuring out our monetization. So, words like double dip and quick growth, and you're speaking my language. But yeah, I love it. And it gets back to what we were talking about, I think earlier, about, those first couple of years as a startup. You're establishing your business, you're establishing your credibility, you're establishing your brand, right? And so you got to pick and choose lanes. But I think it's a wonderful idea, and excited to see you thinking down that road, because all those things you just mentioned, life coaches and certifications and courses, are great avenues for our product, and there's millions of people doing that stuff.
We're going to be right back. You're listening to KHTS 1220, 98.1 FM, The Ask Brien Show.
Okay, Shelby, care to share with the class what you did this weekend?
My weekend started in the African desert, where I was surrounded by wild animals, like fennec foxes. After that, I climbed towering trees in the rainforest and played next to an animal called a prehensile-tailed porcupine.
Okay. Who's next? Ryan?
I went to the mall.
Visit the new Wildlife Explorers Base Camp at the San Diego Zoo and feel what it's like to be wild.
If you have a business problem, if someone doesn't honor their agreement and you need an aggressive attorney with over 27 years experience, the law office of Peter Bronstein has helped partners resolve disputes, franchisees resolve disputes, and other business owners who have a challenge. Let the law office of Peter Bronstein take your stress away. Visit lacorporateattorney.com. Don't wait too long and lose your rights. Solve your business challenge problem today. Visit lacorporateattorney.com.
For unexpected illnesses or minor injuries, Facey Medical Group has you covered. Our immediate care office in Valencia is staffed with physicians and clinicians who have experience in treating a variety of health issues. We also offer same-day advanced imaging. Facey Immediate Care has extended office hours during the week and open weekends and holidays. For more information or to make an in-person or virtual appointment, go to facey.com. That's FACEY.com. Facey, let us care for you today.
It's like no other station I've ever listened to. It's great.
Your hometown station.
Welcome back. You're listening to the Ask Brien radio show on KHTS 1220 and 98.1 FM. Well, Roland, a lot of our users want to know what's your website? How do you get in touch with you? How do you get going? What is this all about, Alfie? So, what's your website?
Did you really?
I'm sorry. How old are you? And how old am I that I got it? I'm probably the only one that's
I'm 2. I'm 2 years old, but that's okay. Go ahead.
Sure. So the best way to find us is online. Our website is www.getarrow.ai. That's www.getarrow.ai. And you'll learn a little bit more about us there. There's a link to the Google Chrome store where you can download the browser extension. That's free. Just sign in with your Facebook account and you're off to the races. And there's some contact information there as well. We've got some great videos up so you can learn a little bit more about how to use the tool. We've got an FAQ section where we answer some also basic marketing questions like, about Facebook, about Instagram, about some of these platforms. So there's just some great information there. And that's the best way to find us.
And do you have any learning information, like maybe on YouTube or somewhere, if people want to find out more?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can search for us, Get Arrow, on YouTube. And when you go to the website, there's a help button in the nav bar. Drop that down. So that's got links both to our YouTube channel, but also our Facebook channel. And on Facebook, we've got a great chat feature. Obviously, Facebook's a huge ecosystem for us, as it is for many micro businesses and many people in general. So you can even hit the chat button. We've got someone full-time there who can answer your questions. Even I take a few hours every week, answer questions on there as well. So we really want to give out a lot of information to folks. So chat with us on Facebook, check us out on YouTube, or just go to our website.
I have a question for you about Facebook and Instagram. Do you have to connect to your personal account, or do you have the ability to connect to personal and business, or are you limited to one account?
You can connect to as many accounts as you want. You can use it on the personal side if you want to use our content for your personal page. Most people are using their business account, whatever your regular login is for Facebook, and most people are using Arrow as a business tool. And so they're posting on their business pages. Now, I will say one thing is, in some cases with these micro businesses, it's a bit mixed together, especially like real estate agents. Often they use their personal page as their primary business page to connect with their community as well. But it's totally up to you. Whatever page you want to use, it all works with Arrow.
And then how does the visual aspect work with Instagram? Because when you were mentioning before about reposting articles from the New York Times and all of the things that go along with that, how does the image aspect work for Instagram since it's less content, more image?
Yeah, so we've got some channels that have a lot of Instagram content, and the way our tool is organized is by channels. So once you log in, you'll see the drop down, and there's about 300 different channels related to hundreds of different businesses you can subscribe to. And then within that channel, you'll find Instagram-ready content, and those are more image-oriented.
Okay, great. And you were saying that LinkedIn and Pinterest are coming. Now that Elon's going to buy Twitter, are you guys going to partner up with Big Elon?
You know, I've been waiting for Elon to respond to my tweets, and he's not responding. So I don't know. It's kind of putting me off a little bit. You know, we'll see. I think Twitter's a little bit different as a platform as a whole. We're gonna wait and see. We want to focus on areas where people are really doing business, and I think right now between Pinterest and LinkedIn and Facebook and Instagram, you really do get most folks where they want to build their business profile, where they want to build their community. So we'll focus on that for now.
You know, one thing about
TikTok?
You know, that's super interesting. I just had a conversation with some folks about TikTok today. Love TikTok. I think it's a great emerging ecosystem. It's more about branding and less about e-commerce. It's also more about, I think, kind of creating content than it is about posting and sharing. So it's a slightly different ecosystem. But I think over the next couple of years, it's a perfect example of how like content is going to drive commerce and drive the economy, I think, over the next 10 years.
What I was going to say is, you know, on Twitter, I think the problem with content there is you have a limitation of how long the tweet can be. So therefore, that type of information is not going to really be, to me, very valuable in terms of content if it's just the tweet itself. If there's an article attached to it, that's one thing. But the actual content, you know, of 25 characters or 40 characters is going to be tough to do. Traci had something to say about Ask Brien.
I do. I always love to say this about Ask Brien. So thank you for listening to the live radio show. But if you want to revisit and listen to all these great information that we gave out today, head over to wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. Search for Ask Brien, Brien, and download and follow the Ask Brien podcast, where you can listen to a replay of this show and all of our previous shows for all of 2022 so far. So yes, it's the Ask Brien podcast, and we would love it if you followed it and left us a review, and just let us know how you like it or don't like it. But let us know either way.
Thank you very much, Roland. We're glad we had you on the show. We're probably going to have you back on again. Thank you very much, Ask Brien. KHTS 1220, 98.1 FM. Over and out.